Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the I'm Only Serious News Network Sunday paper program. On the news this week, Russia's Tsar Vladimir Putin is at it again in the Ukraine. Not only that, but he's sending bombers here to the U.S. Not to mention Europe is all giddy because they landed on a comet. And Obama and the Democrats have lost control of the nation as the Republicans do a big sweep in the national elections. These stories and Smarmy's one brown eye on the world, Rice's Gamers Update, Darren's Movie Views and Reviews, and Ron Morrow's Mystic Minute, and special guest Sean will be here tonight with us to give us some viewer mail or some other subject that he feels comfortable doing. These stories and more on this week's edition of the I'm Only Serious News Network's Sunday paper program.
It's the I'm Only Serious News Network with Dan Mahan, John Smarmy, John Rice, Dave Morrow, Sean Devlin, and Darren Martinez.
Russia has again invaded the Ukraine, though Tsar Vladimir Putin denies it while giving a news conference in the Ukraine atop a tank with soldiers running past him in the battle. They also sent long-range bombers to the American shores in the Gulf of Mexico, which of course he denies that also, although he's seen aboard one and took a selfie of himself inside the cockpit with Florida in the background. And he posted on his media sites. He's always been a liar, but never a good one. Meanwhile, Obama has threatened new sanctions. This time he's going to ban Russian vodka and caviar. Yeah, that should do it. And Europe was all giddy recently when they were able to land a rover on a comet some 300 million miles from Earth. Unfortunately, it didn't land quite so softly, causing it to come to rest in a crater which blocked the sunlight it needed to keep it running. So after 10 years of chasing the comet around before finally landing on it, it was able to function for 60 hours before the batteries died. The U.S. continues to bomb ISIS rebels in Iraq and Syria as they continue chopping off heads. The cost to U.S. taxpayers continues to mount, while rich Arab nations do little or nothing to stop them. Don't we have enough oil and gas in our own country now, for crying out loud? Instead of using $1 million bombs to blow up some towel head on a donkey, let's keep our soldiers home and invest in America's jobs and education. Cracker, please. Do we really care who's in charge over there? Not I. National news. Speaking of America, the midterm elections have come and gone, and the Republicans have won big. This probably means we'll be buying more bombs to kill more Arabs on donkeys. And your dreams of better paying jobs? Well, it'll be that, just dreams, folks. Education, if you can afford it. Taxes, oh, it'll be cut if you're a millionaire. The poor, move on over because you got company. Obama's now officially a lame duck president, which will be for his last 2 years in office. In the end, we're right back where we started 6 years ago. Fighting in the Middle East, shrinking middle class, failing school systems, and immigrants streaming across our border. However, gas is cheaper by almost $2 a gallon. Yeah, go black man. Meanwhile, folks in Ferguson, Missouri are preparing for the announcement of the grand jury on whether to file charges on the cop who killed the kid. By preparing, I say they are out window shopping. Everybody wants to get their eyes on the loot they're going to take when the looting times are coming. Also, Atlantic City continues to suffer as the Taj Mahal will close now by December 12th. Yeah, old Trump can't come over this one, folks. That'll make the 4th casino closed this year alone, with one closing last year. So, if you're going to gamble, stay right here in Philadelphia. Yeah, because we're getting ready to open a 2nd casino anytime soon. But for more news about the world and the nation, let's turn it over to our very own Smarmy with his brown eye on the world. Smarmy?
Thanks, Dan. Hey, Smarby here. let's get into some topics here. Kim Kardashian's behind has been over the news, and how did they airbrush the hair out of her turd cutter? I mean, I've heard Armenian women are very hairy. That must have took a lot of airbrushing. I feel bad for the guy who did that job. Must have got paid triple. A Florida man wearing a bra allegedly blocks ATM customers was arrested. Don't you hate it? We have to line the ATM and somebody has to be the boob. I mean, really, I hate that. Doctor pulls live maggots out of a patient's ear. Ew, gross. And a teen flees a driver's test, leads cops on a chase, crashes the vehicle, gets arrested. I don't think he passed, however, he is the best Grand Theft Auto impersonator out there. This gentleman, what he did was fantastic. If only he pulled out a gun and got killed by a helicopter, he would be the ultimate Grand Theft Auto. Intimidator, whatever that word is. You can edit that out. There you go. Thanks, Dan.
You will.
Eric Frayne lookalike gets free car resembling a cop killer. I get mistaken for a terrorist every week. Where's my damn prize? Tired of this discrimination. And finally, an Ohio man gets anally impaled by a shovel. He was trying to fix his roof, and doctors have to now fix his hole. So, shovel, if you're in there, hello, wizard. That's too inside, folks. Nobody's going to get this stuff, but I've had enough. I think you have too. John Smarmy, I'm only serious news.
Thank you, Smarmy. I've heard of the shit getting deep, but that was deep in shit with that shovel. Well, some local news, folks. A jury has awarded $45 million to the victim in a dungeon case, which happened here in Philly a couple of years back, where mentally handicapped people were held in the dungeon. The woman who was awarded the award went out and bought $45 million worth of gummy bears. At least that money's been well spent. Also, with the recent elections in Philly, 4 of our local and state legislators who were indicted with the sting operation, where they're caught on film taking cash gifts, were re-elected. Yeah. Why? Because their opponents were even worse. That's how we roll here in the city. Also, the recent capture of Eric Frayne, the cop killer from the Pocono Mountains, was he was found out that he was keeping track of things by using a laptop in the wilderness. I can't get my fucking Wi-Fi going here in my house. Get that hump and get it up there in the Pocono Mountains. So, no wonder the deer aren't there in deer season. They're watching the internet too. And finally, Mayor Nutter Butters in his last term, but now a few more people have thrown their hats into the ring for running for next upcoming mayor of Philadelphia. One of them being Lynn Abraham, the only man with tits in the city. As for sports, well, as you know, by the time you watch this, you know the Eagles got their asses whooped today by the Green Bay Packers. Wasn't even a game. And it wouldn't have been so bad if the Flyers haven't lost both games they played this weekend, getting their asses whipped. Temple, they lost to Penn State. And that's about it on the goddamn news. Of course, the Sixers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, losing. At least we're behind that, so they can get the high draft pick. Now, Rob Watkins, who usually brings you the sports, would have been here, but apparently his bookies have finally caught up with him. As last week he made it halfway here on his bicycle before he was run over by his bookies, and this week they've broken his other arm. So, Rob, hang in there, buddy. There's a winner on your way somewhere. But next up for us, we're going to do our gaming review with our very own John Rice. John?
Thanks, Dan. Alright, guys. This week, if you get the update of Nintendo Power of this, holiday, it comes with, that's right, a Nintendo Power gun. And I don't know what you think. In Nintendo Power, the only really gun game that you have is Duck Hunt. But don't you wish you had Contra with the game gun, or at least Paperboy with the game gun to shoot that damn dog? It doesn't matter, but you at least get the game. Well, not the game, but you get the gun. You know, it doesn't come with the game. It never comes with a goddamn game. It never does. But a good game to get is Double Dragon 2. The movie sucks, but hey, get the game. You walk around in different color outfits with goddamn, what do they got? got like a
Headdress?
no the hair. The
Haircuts?
no. What's the dumbass haircut you had in like the 70s?
Mohawk.
No.
Mullet.
Mullets.
Then you walk around like a Speedo and a mullet beating up chicks. That's all you do is you punch chicks. Which is cool up until you get to the level where you gotta punch dudes because they're a little difficult. But if it all remembers, it reminds us to back in Mario Brothers, if you pause it at the right moment, you see Mario donkey punching Yoshi. That's what it comes down to. And if you get this week's edition of Nintendo Power, it also comes with a free Milky Way that's also kind of been used by me. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Rice. Can't wait to see the Mystic Minute, if it's any crazier than that. But giving us our next segment is our very own Darren Martinez with his movie views and reviews. Let's see what he saw this week and what he's going to recommend, Darren.
Thanks, Dan. So I went out and I saw Dumb and Dumber 2 this weekend,
Oh, yeah. How was that?
and it was good. I liked it. I liked it as much as I liked the first one. As much as I can remember, I liked the first one because I haven't seen it in such a long time.
Did they, where was the plot this time? Did they have to travel and all
Yeah,
that?
it's another kind of like delivery movie.
Right.
They got to deliver a package or something like that. So, but it was real stupid, and I could see why a lot of my friends didn't like it so much. But it had classic Jim Carrey, acting slapstick,
Yeah, that's
and silly. So
That's
I can
what
see
I'd
why
be-
a lot of my friends really liked it. Like I enjoyed it for that aspect, just seeing Jim Carrey have fun again. Just being really silly, and that's what he became famous for.
Oh, yeah.
That was his stand-up act, was being like stretching his face and doing all crazy kinds of contortion shit
Right,
with his
with his
skin.
body and all, sure.
Yeah. So it was great seeing it, and that's why I want to recommend. The first thing you go check out is Dumb and Dumber. I'm covering up the prequel because no one wants to see that. So you watch the first one, Dumb and Dumber, watch it again this weekend, and then go out and watch the second one. And I
kind of
think
get you up to date with
yeah,
it.
yeah, and I think you'll like it. And it starts off pretty good. The only problem I have with it is that a lot of the good gags were in the commercial,
Yeah.
the trailer for it. So it's like they gave up a lot of good punchlines. Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot of times.
So in the news, we were talking about a lot of movies being turned into series recently,
Yeah.
and I recommended a couple things that were like Daredevil's being turned into a series. Anyway, Evil Dead is being turned into a series now on
Is it?
television. Yeah, and so I'm gonna recommend my favorite Evil Dead film of the three, Part 2, where it just got fun and slapstick and real funny. And Evil Dead is the classic one, but Part 2 is my favorite because it's just over the top. It's like watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Ah, yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah.
I'm in darkness, yeah.
So also in the news, the new Pirates, they got Orlando Bloom back, and they got the cast back. Some of the cast from the originals back together for the new one. So
another one ordered.
yeah, they got a fifth one coming out.
Wow.
We've been talking about it for a while, but you know what? Since I just hit that news just hit me, I'm gonna recommend you go check out the original Pirates because that's
Oh,
my
nice.
favorite.
Me too, yeah.
Because it's got a lot of fantasy folklore, and it's based off of my favorite ride in Disney World. As everyone knows, I'm a huge Disney World fan.
Never been there.
I'll just pretend I didn't hear that. And my last recommendation is because The Hobbit Part 3 is coming out,
I saw ads for that, yeah.
I'm going to go recommend you check out the first Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring because that's the film that takes place after The Hobbit 3. So
Yeah, the old guy's got regular colored hair in the
Yeah.
Hobbit one.
you'll know how it all ends. So those are the 4 movies I recommend. Dumb and Dumber 2. Check it out if you like the original. Dan,
You think going to get another Ace Ventura now?
you know what? I think another Ace Ventura is the way to go, and I hope that he does that because that's just a Jim
Back to
Carrey
his
fan's
roots.
dream.
Yeah, man.
So so I'm hoping for Ace Ventura 2. Let's Ace Ventura 3.
3 would be, yeah.
Let's get it going. Back to you, Dan.
Thanks, Darren. And I do intend to check out Dumb and Dumber 2. And hope for Ace Ventura 3. Well, folks, next up for us is our Mystic Minute with our very own Ron Morrow. Ron, what's happening this week?
Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, to the Mystic Minute. I, your host, Ron Morrow, would like to take this week to remind you to fortify your home against the encroaching winter. Now, as the world turns to fall and fall turns to winter and all of nature begins to resemble death and coldness around us, it's around this time of year where a lot of the smaller miscellaneous mystical creatures such as hobgoblins and other unfortunate house-dwelling type creatures will try to make their way into a new dwelling. They like to come in through the floorboards and basements. So, of course, I'd like to remind you to clear up those crawl spaces. But the hammer and nails, a lot of people don't realize you can use it just as easily to take out most of these creatures. Hobgoblins and the like. And you would have to lure them out with a red fox. It's one of their favorite delicacies in their hobgoblin culture.
Did I know that?
Yes, actually. But specifically, if you can enchant the red fox to have the voice of Red Fox and just to spout off one-liners from the hit show Sanford and Son, they go crazy for it.
Lamont, you big dummy.
It's their favorite show. So you do that, you lure them out with the fox, you let them eat the fox, you let the fox run away, whatever you feel like doing with the fox. Then you need to take the time to blind them with any your typical household fire extinguisher. Doesn't necessarily have to be a higher quality industrial brand, but any, just the spray temporarily incapacitates them long enough for you to get a single rusted nail right between the forehead, and that's that for that
Nice.
little critter. So be on the lookout, folks. Protect your homes, protect your families, protect yourselves. This has been the Mystic Minute. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Ron. And yes, it was stranger than the Gamers Update. All serious. Well, folks, we have a very special guest with us tonight. He's a friend of ours, a comic buddy of ours. Been out on the road for several of the last 8 months, out to Colorado and back. And now he's joined the iOS crew to go over some of the viewer email that's been piling up about that much time as well. So with us tonight is Sean Devlin. Sean, welcome aboard.
I'm here and I'm going to ask some questions to the stars of our show. Okay. Kelly Loves 420 at hotmail.com asks Ron Morrow, what is your favorite zodiac sign?
I personally do not believe in the Zodiac. I believe it to be a load of horse shit that somebody made up a long time ago. And I don't know why we're still going on about it today.
What's your favorite is?
My favorite is the Zodiac Killer.
I agree. Wonderful input, Ron. Homie G-Funk of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He doesn't even have an at name. That's the weirdest email I've ever seen. Homie G-Funk of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as John Smarmy. Where are your usual tortilla chip crumbs that usually rest on your shirt? Did you not buy any for you and the staff?
Well, I decided not to because it was cut into my budget. Our cameraman eats the whole bag every single week.
That is the
He is
rudest thing
very
I've ever heard.
stingy. He does not share it. And it was costing me $1,078 a year. And I decided to not purchase that. But I will be bringing Starburst candies every once in a while. Thank you.
Thank you, John. That was very rude. Okay. Nails Goblin 324 at ioshi.net asks, Dan, do you know any Irish people that live in Jamaica? Actually, wait. I think it says, Dan, do you know any ISIS people that live in Jamaica? Which
I
one?
know some Irish ISIS
Ooh,
that don't live in Jamaica, man.
same. That's me.
But no, there was one or two of them, but their heads were chopped off recently, and Ron Moore was on that case. He never did find out who it was.
Ron.
Hobgoblin, probably.
Where'd the heads go, Ron?
They may or may not have been shrunken and left in my basement at some point. I'll never reveal that.
That's extremely beautiful. Okay. Sean Devlin88 at gmail.com asks, John Rice, why did you come dressed as a Dutch lesbian to the show today?
I didn't have my normal Zodiac medicine today. Less sugar than normal, I guess.
That and the Long Island iced teas.
Thank you, John. You smell like the bar. Anyway, that's all the questions I have for tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sean. And thank you for the viewer mail from out there. Thank you for the views. Continue to pass our name along to your friends. And I want to thank Darren for his production and direction, Smarmy for his insight, Ron Morrow, John Rice, Sean Devlin, and Tony Viejo, who didn't make it tonight because he was too filled with dairy and fish. That about wraps up for tonight's broadcast. See you all next week on the Illinois Serious News Network Sunday Paper program.
You look amazing right now.
All right.
Leave that in.